Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 4 replays in the Chinese Tier 9 Tech Tree Heavy Tank, the BZ-68. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, we're on to the Tier 9 of the rocket-powered Chinese heavy tanks. What's it like as a tank? Well, I found generally it's a pretty damn good hull-down tank. The gun slaps really nicely, but it's a bit derpy, which can be a bit frustrating. The DPM's alright. And the mobility is very slow, especially when you're stock, because this first replay we are completely stock, as opposed to the next 3 which are all fully upgraded. Stock, you are very, very slow, but just like the Tier 8, and, well, just like the Tier 8, you are going to have the top gun from the get-go, meaning you don't have to grind through some terrible entry stock gun on this vehicle, so that is very nice to be able to, be able to fight back at full capacity from the start. You just have a pretty poor mobility, because just like the rest of the line, it goes at 30 kilometers an hour top speed, but with the stock engine you are very, very slow. So yeah, you got 30 kilometers an hour top speed, 14 kilometer an hour reverse speed, 600 horsepower engine while stock, which is 10.58 horsepower per ton ratio, which means that yeah, you're very slow on stock and you are very sluggish. 26 degrees a second on the hull rotation as well, it just adds to this tank feeling very slow when you're not fully upgraded and when you are completely stock. When you get the top engine, you do feel a little bit more nippy, but it's still not the best in the universe, and because your top speed doesn't go up 30 kilometers an hour, is just a bit slow. You do have now 5 rocket boosts to use, which will burn for 10 seconds, giving you that 45 kilometer an hour top speed. So that 26 degrees a second hull rotation speed is pretty slow on stock. Ground resistances are 2.12, 1.29 and 1.01, which means that, yeah, they do affect it a little bit, especially on soft terrain, but generally it's not too bad. 473 meters of view range means while you're stock, you're not horrifically blind like you were in the Tier 8, but you're also not going to be able, well, you're not going to spot for yourself as easily as a lot of other vehicles. You've actually got more like tank destroyer view range while you're stock, but you will get decent view range when you get fully upgraded turret on this vehicle. 29.19 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed is faster than the tracks, which is why we run rapid aim, to make that turret traverse better so that we can get this gun snapped in on target. 1.07 accuracy during rotation is, yeah, it's not very good, but we've got a 1.58 accuracy during movement, which is pretty decent, and that's actually been fairly consistent all the way down the line, that we've got those similar statistics in terms of accuracy during rotation and movement, meaning the aim circle does bloom out a little bit, as you can see, and then you've got a 2.95 second aim time, which means it does take a long time to aim in when you're stock, which is pain. The aim time is pain, and the aim circle doesn't bloom out horrendously like quite a few other tanks can, where it's a massive pineapple on your screen, but it's enough that you will feel the 2.95 second aim time. 8 degrees of gun depression on this vehicle is quite nice though, means you are flexible on a ridgeline. You do have to be careful though on this tank, as you have 2 little lights on the front of the hull that do restrict your gun depression, which then knocks your gun depression down to 4.5 degrees over the front. It can mean fighting on a ridgeline can be a little bit awkward when trying to use your full gun depression on this vehicle, as you can just end up hitting the lights and going, oh, I've got no gun depression, as the gun bumps up and you end up missing your shot. It can be truly frustrating, this tank, with that gun depression the way it is. You got 0.34 accuracy at 100 meters with the crew that we run while stock, which isn't the best. Again, it's still fairly derpy. This gun does love a good miss, and if it decides it wants to miss, trust me, it will. So you want to make this gun aimed in as much as humanly possible, with 11.67 second reload while stock, which is 2.7k DPM, which, like I say, isn't horrific, but it's also not that great. It just sits in that sort of area where you go, yeah, it's okay, right? But 530 alpha is delicious, with 248 penetration on the standard AP, with 315 heat pen, which is nice, and that will help you go through pretty much every tank you're going to face. You got 1,050 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP, which is slightly above average, which is okay for this kind of gun, but it does mean you have to give a bit of lead, and if you load the heat rounds, which have 930 meters a second shell velocity, you are going to have to give a good amount of lead to be able to hit your shots. Just bear that in mind, because the heat rounds do go slower than your standard AP in this tank. So that's the stats of the tank while stock. What do we run as a crew to get those sorts of statistics? Well, in terms of a crew on the old BZ-68, well, the new BZ-68, we run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Trap Mechanic, and Rapid Aim, with the advanced loader, gun stabilizer, optics. Optics to be able to get ourselves up to that 473 meters of view range. Gun stabilizer to get the accuracy during movement and rotation down as low as possible, so this aim circle doesn't become huge and we have to really suffer that near 3-second aim time. All 3 gun perks, again, make this gun as good as possible because it does like to derp. 3, 2, 1, derp. That's the gun. It does love doing it. So all 3 gun perks to try and help this gun as much as humanly possible. And rapid aim to make the turret traverse better because the turret traverse is very slow and it's one of those things that was annoying me a little bit. If the track traverse feels too slow for you though, you could quite happily drop the rapid aim and run clutch braking instead, and you'll get that bit better hull rotation speed. But yeah, that's what I run in terms of crew and equipment, and that's the stats of the BZ-68. As you can see, this first game, while stock, has gone fairly average. This was a fairly average game for the tank in general, whether it's fully upgraded or stock. We managed to stick a few shots down range, and then the game sort of got away from us a bit. And we finished the game with a pretty decent total there in the BZ-68, 2.9k damage, 3rd class, with the 1080 base XP. Like I say, a fairly average game there for the vehicle while stock, and to be honest, like I say, while fully upgraded, it's probably the more valid experience of what you're going to feel. But it can be pretty nice when you get it in the good situations where it wants to be. And I say good situations, just the decent situations where you want to be putting yourself in the BZ-68. And that is hull down. Hull down, this vehicle is very nice because that turret armor is good. It is sloped back quite a lot. It has 280mm of thickness on that turret front, meaning that the raw thickness is more than enough to bounce pretty much all the standard rounds, and then only premium rounds will really go through it. But because it's angled backwards quite nicely, and you use the full 10 degree, well, sorry, the full 8 degrees of gun depression this vehicle has, not 10, the full 8 degrees of gun depression this tank has, you will bounce a lot off this turret, which is a very nice asset for it. But this second replay, we are now fully upgraded. So with the fully upgraded engine, we now have a 12.83 horsepower per ton ratio, because we've got 770 horsepower, which is better than it was, way better, and you will feel that little bit difference in the mobility in getting to the top speed of 30 kilometers an hour, but it's still fairly slow, sadly. And this tank also likes getting set on fire, just to point out, because you've got a 15% internal fire chance. If things start shooting you in the rear, you just get set on fire all the time in this tank, so be careful of that as well. We've now got 28 degrees a second hull rotation speed, which is only 2 degrees faster, but it's noticeable. Oh boy, that's an AVRE. Thankfully, that wasn't all of my hit points. That could have been bad. Our terrain resistances, by the way, have now gone up to 1.75, 1.01, and 0.92. Very, very good. So they do not hold the tank back whatsoever. 486 meters of view range with this top turret means we can spot for ourselves pretty nicely. I'd say that's probably the average tier 8 medium view range, but it's good enough for a heavy tank, as, again, you'll be able to spot for yourself pretty decently. We've still got that 29.19 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed because the turret rotation didn't really go up. We've got 1.07 accuracy during rotation still, which is still poor. But our movement accuracy has gone down to 1.44, which is a little bit better. So after moving, the gun won't bloom out quite as much. And our aim time's got better to 2.76 as well with the better turret, which means it does aim in that little bit faster as well, which is great. Still got 0.34 accuracy though, which can be a bit derpy, with now an 11.3 second reload, which is 2.8k DPM, which, like I say, it's not bad. It's also not great. It's just sort of okay for a tier 9 tank. It means you can stick up for yourself quite nicely with this 530 Alpha, but obviously if you get stuck in a knife fight with something that's got more DPM than you at tier 9, like an M103 or something like that, it can be a bit awkward. And also it's a bit awkward facing stuff like tier 10s that are doing 3.5 to 4k DPM, so you've got to be careful of what you're going against. But obviously with this gun, it didn't change. It's exactly the same as it was when you were stock because you only get one gun. And that is a beautiful thing in the upgrade path for it, is the fact that you don't have to suffer a stock gun. And I really like that about this line. This line has been quite nice for that for the World War II. It's made it very, very different in the terms of not having to deal with horrific stock guns. And even then, when you had to deal with it on the tier 7, the stock gun was actually a little bit nicer than the top gun for me. So it is what it is. So as you can see on this second game, we are in the perfect place for the BZ-68. We're up to 2.5k damage with 348 assistance. We are hull down. So we're saying, go on then, lads, try it. And they are bouncing, especially heat rounds even, off of our turret front, which is very nice. The heat round with 315 pen was going through the 279E, which it was always going to do. We weren't really going to go through the 279E with an AP round, so we just wanted to make sure that we were going to go through his upper plate. Because, well, that's the thing with the 279E. It's generally vulnerable. It's generally invulnerable to AP unless truly shooting down on it. But as soon as the premium round gets loaded, its armor goes bye-bye. So we shoot the 907 in the side. Nope. RNG says no. Absolutely not. As we bounce a 315 pen heat round straight off the side of the 907. But that's a bit of the troll 907 armor. It can be a bit troll in that regard, and the spaced armor on the side basically just absorbed the heat round, which is where heat can be an absolute frustration to use at times, because that can happen. So as always with the Chinese rocket-powered heavy tanks, if you want to activate the rocket boosters, press left on the D-pad. That's the same for both Xbox and PlayStation. You press left on the D-pad, and you will get that 10-second boost to get up to that 45 kilometers an hour. And you have to use them sparingly. Now, it's nice with the BZ-68 that you get 5, because you can use 2 to get to position, and then save 3 to do what you want with it. But you do have to be strategic in where and when you use them, so that you can get yourself as close to the fight as possible. You don't want to end up in a situation where you have to catch up with with your team to get damage, and then you're stuck without rocket boosters and you're having to go at your normal speed. Because as you can see with it, 30 kilometers an hour, it is a little bit slow, and it can just be a bit frustrating. So something spotted us there, tractors, but didn't pen us. So we're just going to have to try and, again, just keep up with the team. Try and get there. We're using the rocket boosters to speed our maneuvers to get towards the enemy vehicle, so we can hopefully get another shot of damage or 2. That'd be nice. So we put a shot on the move into the EBR there, up to 3.6k damage. Nice shot on the move while using the rocket boosters. The EBR gets shut down by the Tortoise, so we're just going to try and boost our angle here to get a shot into the T-58 Heavy. And thankfully, the shot flew true, straight through that guy's rear, putting us onto 4,023 damage with 430 assistance damage. And there's only one tank left on the enemy team. It is that Waffle Panzer IV that did shoot us a minute ago. He's up in the dunes at around F9. And the likelihood of me getting there is very slim to none, as tanks like the Chow, which do go way faster, well, they go 10 kilometers an hour faster than us without rocket boosters, are already on top of the ridge and they're charging in. So this is where it is a bit of pain for something like the BZ-68, and to be honest, for the entire line, where you go, I've got no rocket boosters left. Ah, well, now I'm stuck just waiting, trying hopefully to get there, and, well, we just didn't get there. But we did finish with a decent total there for a Tier 9 Heavy in a Tier 10 game. We finished with the victory. 1 kill, 4,023 damage, 430 assistance damage, 1,700 blocked with the Confederate, the second class, for 1,440 base XP. Pretty decent game there for, like I said, the BZ-68 in what was a Tier 10 game. And even against Tier 10 Fire and Premium, we were doing pretty well there, hull down, bouncing shots off our turret. But now we're into the third replay. In the third replay, well, we've got that matchmaking that happens sparingly at Tier 9. We've got the very nice matchmaking. Only 3 Tier 9s. Can we make the most of it? Well, we'll see what will happen. So, highway encounter. This could be a bit of a questionable play. We're going to use the rocket boosts to get under the bridge at E5. Now, getting under the bridge at E5 can be great, because we can cut off their AB line, easy shots into the rear of them, and just completely destroy their attempts at using the flank. But it's also a questionable play in a tank like the BZ-68, because we don't really have the best top speed. And if we get spotted by something like a Mantis, you can see me demonstrating there because this game was on stream. If any of those guys are up there camping, they're going to have easy shots at us and we're going to lose a lot of hit points. But thankfully, that doesn't really happen, and we've got to where we want to be at because of the rocket boosts. So we've caught the Mantis out, we're going to wait for the Mantis to give us a shot, and we finish that guy off. Sixth Sense undetected, which was the bat tap on top of the hill. Sadly, we're not going to get a shot at him, though, as he pulls back, and we're not quite loaded. We've seen the light tank, which is the T92 LT, up on top of the hill, so we're going to aim the shot in. Hopefully it goes in, and sadly, it just derps low. And that is what this gun is like at range. I mean, it was a very slim shot there on the T92, but pretty much fully aimed it. It just went, you know what? You know, I could, or I could hit the floor. And you're like, thanks, gun. Thank you, Mr. 130mm gun. Thank you so much for that. I loved it. So we get a shot through the Batchat 25 TAP's turret there, and again, that's RNG for you, right? We missed a shot on the T92, which was a slim shot, but mostly fully aimed, and then the shot on the Bat Tap just went straight into the side of the turret. So we went for the shot on the T92LT there, but sadly the shot, we fired a little bit too soon. And the shot actually went to where we'd been aimed a second ago and not to where we were actually aiming there on the T92LT, but it is what it is. We're up to 943 damage, and we're going to get to the ridge line that I want to be at. I want to be at this ridge line so I can stay hull down, block the shots on my turret, and shoot people like this Ferdinand. So we go for the shot on the Ferdinand there. Sadly, it just goes wide. And then Mr. Ferdinand goes, you know what? I'm just going to drive up sideways on. Mr. Ferdinand, you pulled back perfectly so I couldn't get a shot at you, and then you just gave me a free shot after I took the chancy clutch shot. And that's why in moments where I was like, I wish I just hadn't taken a chance at the clutch shot there. But, okay. So we're just going to look to see if we can get a shot at the back tap. The Brask crosses the open, so we put a shot into the side of the Brask. Use the rocket boosters to get underneath the gun line of the Type 59 and the Ferdinand as quickly as humanly possible. Thankfully, they both bounce, aim the shot into the lower plate, but it hits the mid-plate of the Ferdinand and it bounces. The Batchat Brask sadly gets some shots in. The other Brask is coming in, so we aim up the shot, hoping to try and track and pen him. And we do neither. Thanks, RNG. The gun shell derps, goes extremely low on that Brask and just does track damage only. Doesn't even blow the tracks off. The other Brask is coming round, so we're watching to see what he does, because we just need to get rid of these Brasks if we can. Put a shot straight through his side there, keeping an eye on the Type 59 and the other Brask. Nearly get the reload in. Boost with food, and this Braskily just went, oh, I've fired all my shots. Get me out of this game. Good night, Mr. Brask. Get out of the game. We're up to 2.9k damage with 171 assistance damage. The other Brask drives up on top of the ridgeline. Should be able to kill him with this shot. Put the shot into his rear. 418. We low roll, nowhere near the 530 we needed to kill him, and sadly that means we didn't get the kill, but we're up to 3.4k damage with 181 assistance, and we got a shot aside into the side of the BZ-68. So I aimed for the rear, and the reason I aimed for the rear of the BZ-68 there was because I wanted to set him on fire, no word of a lie. If I get shot in that back end in this tank, I'd get set on fire, so I was kind of really hoping for that, but we do manage to secure the kill on the BZ-68, watching the back of the M103 going, come on, M103, come on, give me the shot. But sadly, he gets around the corner, meaning we can't get that shot into him. But we use what we've got left of our rocket boosters to try and get us down this train track as quickly as possible. But the M103 actually drives out, so we get ourselves aiming in, put a shot straight through the turret side there of him for 517. He's starting to get farmed by the rest of my team, meaning, yeah, we're not really going to get there to finish him off as the medium tank. Well, in fact, the BZ-176 finishes him off, and we finished the game with a decent total here for the Tier 9, the BZ-68. Finished with the epic victory. Top of the team, 3 kills, 4.5k damage, 1537 base XP, a pretty good game there for the BZ-68. 1400 blocked with the first class and the high caliber. 1537 base XP, a pretty nice game there for the BZ-68 in what was absolutely perfect matchmaking. So we really, again, when you get that kind of matchmaking, just like when you see maps like Proc, you really have to make the most of it. And oh boy, we do try to make the most of it if we humanly can do. So we're on to the fourth and final replay of the BZ-68, and this is horrific match. This is a complete flip of the last game, right? The last game, we had 3 Tier 9s, all the rest was Tier 8. This game, 1 Tier 9 in the entire game, and it's me. And a tank on the opposite team, I should say, because it matches up. So there's 1 Tier 9 on each team, and it's me and the other dude. Thanks, matchmaking. I love you. You're great. But yeah, we've had some very nice games in this BZ-68. We had some nice games on stream. I probably will have another video at some point showing off those games as well for this tank. Same as I will with the BZ-166, because we did have some very nice games. But I just tried to show a sort of a bit of a mix of different replays to show you how this thing is. And we're on to the hull down capacity again. Lakeville. We're coming to this position here at E2, because we can hug this rock really closely and get shots into the side of people. So the FV215B is driving up. We get a shot into the side of the FV215B, or to the lower plate of the FV215B. Again, that tank sets on fire all the time, so I was really hoping to set him on fire. You can see me going for the drive wheel, because the fuel tanks are behind that, but it doesn't happen again. But we keep him pinned there, so that if he was going to get shot, he'll die, and that's exactly what happens. We're up to 1,023 damage, 616 assistance. Just trying to look for the gun depression here to shoot the chisel. And sadly, we aim poorly there and hit the rock. But that's where the gun depression comes in, because you can see we hit that light on the right-hand side, which is what I was trying to show to the stream. We hit that light on the right-hand side, and we just completely lose gun depression, which is where you can see me fighting it, trying to turn the tank to get the best gun depression I possibly get. So I look at the E4 there, and I decide, no, I'm not doing that. I don't really want to get hit by the E4. I couldn't really feather a shot to be able to pen him. There's no point. We put a shot through the side of the E5, who gives us a lovely shot. He gets put down to a one-shot by the guy that was next to us as well. We're just waiting on the reload. Hopefully we'll be able to get rid of this E5 if we can. Once we're reloaded, we look for that lower plate shot, but he moves forward just in time to take the shot straight onto his tracks. But it pins him in place, which means he should be an easy shot for our friends, and the 780 ends up shutting him down. The Chisel looks like he's running away. So I think, okay, Chisel's running away. Boost with the rockets. To turn when you are activating the rockets, use the handbrake. We get a shot on the move into the back of the Chisel, and we're just keeping on going. If we can use the rocket boost again, that would be great. But at the same time, I actually don't really want to use it because I want to get rid of this Chisel if I can, which means I'll need the best accuracy I can get out of this tank, which means that if I'm using the rocket boost, I'm not going to have that. So I'm taking the chance that I'll take a hit from this Chisel, but I just want to get rid of him so that we can start focusing on stuff like the E4 that was on our left. We finish off the Chisel, putting ourselves up to 2.5k damage with 862 assistance. The T92 HMC gets shut down by the E4. We see the Gui running away, put a shot into the back of the Gui, putting us on to 2.9k damage with 960 assistance. But sadly, the RT is going to get away, which is a bit unhelpful. We really need to get rid of that guy. Can't find the shot. The E4 is driving round, though, and I'm not about that life. Now, we were detected as well, so I'm thinking, is the stuff down at K5, 6? There tends to be, but we really want to get rid of these guys if we can. So we aim for the cupola, the little bar that's on the top of the Foch 155, and sadly, the shot derped and went to the far right and just missed. Now the Gui is still alive. He is still trying to find shots at us, but we are making sure the shots are going to hit that bar. We need to get rid of the Foch if we can, because we get rid of the Foch, that's support for the E4 gun. The E4 is in a very good position for him, which is going to be very difficult for us to be able to truly go through him. The Death Star bounces off the 780, so now the Death Star's fired and pulled back, we can start focusing on getting rid of this E4, because he is the raid boss. So we put a shot into the side of the E4 for 500. He's a one-shot. Thankfully, the QL finishes him off. Death Star's starting to turn around because the medium tanks come up behind him, so we have to take advantage of the fact that he is distracted and get rid of that 183mm of pain out of this game. So we put a shot into his back, and this is where we still got 2 rocket boosts. So we see the 277. He is in the distance, so we're going to use the rocket boost to strategically get us across this gap as quick as humanly possible so that we're not in a position where we can get shot too easily by these guys. We hit that Sheridan on the move. Nice times, nice RNG there, putting him down to a one-shot. So if he was to drive out sideways on again, we'd have an easy shot to kill him. And we are going to close the distance here on this 277 with the QL. So we tried the shot on the move into the Sheridan this time. Sadly, it misses. The 705 behind the 277. The Sheridan gets shut down by the Batchet 25T. Aim for the lower plate of the 277. And the shot goes wide and does track damage only. Doesn't even blow off the tracks. It's like, thanks, game. We boost with the rockets to try and get into a good position to shoot the 705 before he pulls back. Fully aim the shot into his lower plate for 564. And the QL ends up finishing him off. And we finish the game with a really nice total here for the BZ-68. 5.7k damage, 1600 assistance damage with the victory. 2 kills, 2035 base XP. Fantastic game there for the brand new Chinese Tier 9 Tech Tree Rocket Booster Heavy Tank. And we finished with 2.5k blocked as well. The Ace Tanker, the Confederate, with that 2035 base XP. A really nice game for the BZ-68 in a horrific matchup. And that just showed what it can do, what its capability of. Keep slapping out the rounds with this 530 Alpha gun. It is a super satisfying gun to use. And the damage does end up racking up eventually. And just use the rocket boost to get yourself into a good hull down position and bounce all those shots off the turret. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you next time.
A great success.